"Oh, you know how to skate?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I picked it up when I was 5, But
On my way to
yeah,
class.
on my way to class, yeah.
Hi, David.
Hey, Matt. Question. Is this a cold open?
We're still not going to get this
Okay,
working.
all right.
Hey, I'm just glad that the state doesn't have a budget. The federal government shut down. But because we don't get paid for this, we're still here.
There, yeah.
That's
Sure.
also not a cold open.
Is that not a cold open? Is that
We'll
cold open?
find something.
Okay, all right. We'll edit it.
I've been trying to bring David along into the world of production. And you're the one with the journalism degree. You should
Yeah.
know this stuff.
Well, we didn't, back when I was here, we didn't have cold opens.
But you had a
warm
radio
opens.
station.
Well, you could have called it that. Yeah. It was a couple of turntables.
In case you're accidentally tuning in for some reason to this podcast, this is the Tuck Shop Podcast, where we talk about UPJ stuff and UPJ alum and all kind of cool things. I'm Matt. That's David. David, we got a big calendar of events coming up here. We might as well talk about
Yeah, tons of stuff.
big stuff. This episode's for October 8th. So coming up, we have UPJ Homecoming. We have the men's and women's basketball in Oakland. We have volleyball 50th anniversary event coming up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got, once again, our women, starting to sound like a broken record here, but it's what's going on. Our women traveling to the Pete to play the Panthers. Our men traveling to the Pete the Monday after. This is October
26th and 27th?
and 27th, correct. And then on the 26th, as Matt mentioned, to celebrate 50 years of collegiate volleyball here, women's volleyball. Our women are not playing the Panther women. They're going to watch the Panther women play the Wake Forest Demon Deacons at the Fitz. So we're having a get together prior at the Peterson at the Baseline Club. That's out there. So we've got a limited amount of free tickets for all 3 games. I'm going to say, we're going to limit it to 2 per alumni. Mm-hmm. But if you're real nice to me and you got a really good excuse, sometimes we can slide in another.
Prove you've downloaded this show.
Yeah, something along those lines. But we did it last
Up our
time.
numbers, David.
We did it last time, and we packed the place for the men's game. We had a good bunch of people come down for the women's game. This is on a Sunday and a Monday.
Correct.
Sunday, 1 o'clock, everything gets started. Monday night, 7 o'clock, everything gets started. But it's really cool because, again, it's the last, we've done this since I've been here, second time.
This is the 3rd year in a row. Men were first, then last year were women. Now it's both.
Yeah, and it was, and I say it every time. It's not about what's going on the court. It really is. It's what I liken to my limited experience with high school football, where you'd go to watch, your kid play, and you'd end up talking with everybody in the stands. And you're like, well, the game's over. What happened? But it's about camaraderie. It's about getting the alumni together. It's about having a good time. We will have refreshments, and it's just a good time. So hit me up if you want those tickets. I got a couple of people already, had asked for tickets. That's for the volleyball game. Free tickets for the volleyball game. Free tickets for the men's game. Free tickets for the women's game. DGJ7 at pitt.edu.
Yes.
Or just call my office. Put your name down. I'm going to need a good email address because we send these electronically to your phone.
Yeah, there are no paper tickets anymore, folks.
Not anymore.
It's all,
Doesn't work
it's
that
all
way. Not going to
digital ticket
happen.
now.
Not going to work. So yeah, hit us up for that. It's a good time. It's getting into getting off campus for a little bit, getting into Oakland. So we're looking forward to that.
And no, it should be good. The same thing out there. Again, don't just show up. You got to call David, get your stuff.
Yeah.
Same thing with homecoming.
Yep.
Everyone's welcome. Call David because you have to get on and register and make sure we know you're coming. So there's stuff to get you and food and everything.
The hospitality tent, we want to make sure everybody's fed. So we got to make sure they have the right amount of food. So like I said, send me an email. Let me know you're coming. We'd love to see you here. We'd love to have you here.
Yeah, and that's on the 18th.
The 18th, correct. And then
that's UPJ homecoming, 18th. So the weekend after is the basketball and the volleyball. Weekend before, weekend before is the UPJ homecoming for you. So you're good to go.
Yep, good stuff coming up. just keep an eye, like I said, on our social media platforms. That's where you can find that information.
And I did reach out. We might as well do some live project planning on the air. I did reach out, and I'm waiting for a couple of possible dates for our annual UPJ Goes to the Tomahawks game.
Yeah. Hey, now that we're doing some online planning, some on-air planning,
Okay.
here, so everybody gather around the table. You'll notice this morning's question of the week.
Recording on Monday, so Monday's
Oh yeah,
question
so
of the week.
Monday's question of the week.
Yeah. What was
You'll
it?
notice Monday's question of the week. I was approached by Brad Dayton, the Protestant minister here, that said, "Hey, what about an all-years campus ministry reunion?"
Oh.
So this week's, it's kind of interesting, kind of our, what do you call that, our how we test the water. We'll put out maybe on that question of the week. Are you interested in an all years campus ministry reunion? This is one of the reunions we'd like to see. Every year we do something in the summer, a 2-day over the weekend, usually end of May, beginning of August. So Brad and I have spoken. We'd love to see some people come out. Just, again, get together, all the years, all the different faiths, and plan something. So it's out there. People always ask, how do I get involved? I want to be more involved with the alumni group, the Alumni Association, Institutional Advancement. Just come to the events.
Yeah.
Bring your bodies, bring your stories.
And this is a good example of something that just like last year's media reunion, that was advocate radio, television station, that there were people that was their niche. We're a very, for lack of a better term, a very siloed university. Your group is your group, and you hung out with those people and know those people and know the people that came before you and know the kids that came after you, kind of thing.
Right.
That you may think, I don't really like sports or whatever. Nothing we've talked about to this point may be of interest to you, but you're like, this is it. This is my event. Perfect. We'd love to have that. Come out and let David know, and because the help and people who have information, or hey, I have all these great photos I want to bring or whatever. We can always make it work for your event.
And the neat things about those affinity group reunions, just like the media reunion, just like an all faith reunion or a campus ministry, it crosses disciplines.
Correct.
So you got engineers, you got people that had a degree in communications, people that were nursing. They're all bringing that to the table, which is kind of one last thing I do want to mention before we get to our guest. The engineering, the one called Career Fest is coming up.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's their employer day.
Employer day, right.
Dr. Brian Houston's engineer employer day brings over 100 different firms. This year, he's been kind enough to expand to my department, and we're going to have GIS folks, Geographic Information System folks. So my students are all excited to go down. But we're going to be recording live at the event as well, grabbing alumni. And so if you happen to be listening and said, oh, I'm going to that, come find us.
Yeah. We'll have alumni swag as we did last year. And it's always very impressive when you're there to just see how many companies are either owned or, how can I say it, majority employed by those from UPJ, especially in the engineering fields. And it's really neat to see some, people come back and say, this is now my company, or, they'll come back and they'll say, hey, can I grab a shirt? Sure. And they'll say, can I have 3 or 4 more? Because there's 4 people in a firm of 15 that are
5 of us
that are
at the
UPJ.
booth working.
Like, really?
Today.
That's so cool. Yeah. So that makes it worth it. That's how you get involved with alumni.
And I'm sure we'll do some photography that the engineering folks will put out on their social media.
Sure,
Brian's
absolutely.
good at that. But if you find it, when talk about it being a packed event, it is to capacity in the LLC.
Yeah.
Multiple
Absolutely.
rooms packed, elbow to elbow, just fighting to get in. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to wear a helmet because they pushing.
I'm going to wear an engineer's cap.
Oh, there you go. Wrong kind of engineer.
Okay. Hey. Slow hanging fruit.
All right. Enough of our normal shenanigans. Or what was the word? What was the alumni word of the week? A couple of meetings ago, tomfoolery.
No. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't that.
Okay. We actually have a guest in studio with us today who came from, where do you come from, Paul?
Right now or grew up?
No. When you traveled here to be on this show.
We drove from Indiana, but we flew here from Florida.
To be on the
South
show.
Florida. Just to be on the show. We leave after this. on the private jet.
How was
back
the green
home.
room? Did you find the green room
It was good. It was good.
to your liking?
The food could have improved.
Well,
But
hey, you know.
Well, we're at college. What are you going to
Yeah.
do? Paul, introduce yourself to the folks who don't know. You are a UPJ alum. What year?
I am 08 to 2012. Paul Tunink. I studied business, and I was sitting here listening to you guys, trying to find something that you were either making up or wasn't exactly like when I was here. But I'm glad to hear things have continued. Groups, the people you get together with, and then the lifelong relationships.
Yep.
It's kind of how I continued to follow back towards UPJ, because I just run into people whenever we're back in town. We're full time in Florida, but we've been spending our summers up here.
Oh, that's a reverse.
And it. Oh no, you don't want summer in Florida.
Oh, hey.
No,
Thought
no,
it was usually the other way around.
So
Summer in Johnston only lasts about 25 minutes though.
Oh yeah, well, that's the time we have, and then we. But through golf and continuing to be involved with local sports and getting to know the families more and more and deeper. You know, I now know a number of UPJ alum baseball players that I'm like, oh, I played ball here, and then they're like, yeah, I did in the '70s, I did in the '80s, and they're just like, yeah, welcome right into the group. You know, that thread you were talking about. But anyway, that was an awful introduction. Paul Tunink, and
We're doing the podcast and critiquing it as we go along.
Yeah.
Paul Tunink's here
Yeah.
to critique the podcast as we create it.
My wealth management firm is Arrow Wealth, LLC. I spent 13 years with AIG, formerly Valak, now Corbridge, doing specifically retirement planning with them. And now we've branched out. We help small businesses still do a lot of retirement, but really anything that you need between supporting your business, getting professional help, financial planning, understanding investments. We have somebody in our office or myself that's going to get that done. And so we're excited. And even that network, there's a couple alum in the area that we do different things. So I contact them, and we even continue to network. And it's seamless. You know,
We so you said business. That would have been, I'm trying to think, 8 to 12. You still would have been able to get an actual just business degree.
it was business, and they
With
had
concentration.
they had concentration. It was finance, correct?
Okay, concentration.
Correct.
Because now it's actually flipped. You can do a finance degree. You could do an accounting degree and we're actually talking about potentially
understood.
doing a general business
General
with
business.
us back to. It's kind of fun watching the cyclical nature of the universe go. So you could actually today get an actual. We have students who will get a degree that says finance right on there.
It's funny you bring that up, because the faculty here was always supportive of at least my experience for that. One of my favorite courses here was forensic accounting. Well, I wasn't an accounting major, and it was a tier 2 or 3 course. But I spoke to the faculty, and they said, "Oh, it's going to be really difficult, but you know, think you can handle it." And I loved it, and I knew a couple guys that were in accounting specialties in the course. And then, of course, your class sizes are smaller here.
Do you remember who you had it with?
I'm going to say Yelitz. Does that sound familiar? No.
Paul, did you
gosh.
graduate from here?
I did.
Okay.
No. I think.
You sit around thinking of your professors.
What is?
No, I don't believe me. They don't
I
think
do, but
about
I'm stuck
me.
here with
Right.
half of them that I went to school here with.
No,
right now we're my coworkers.
I know, and you know what? He came up because we actually had a little group because we were of the athletic. You know, we were on the teams here.
Yeah.
There's a small group in that specific class, and he'd pick on us as the baseball contingent, and so
George
I'm
Fletcher?
No, I'm
No.
so sorry. I'm forgetting your name, because as soon as it comes to mind,
We'll figure
he's
it out.
going to be like, yeah.
We'll get the yearbooks out.
No,
later.
we looked him up. We were just talking. We looked him up. He's still on the faculty here. It'll come to me, and if not, I'll look it up while you guys are making other jokes. And find it.
We'll figure it out. No. What I think was
These
missed
are not
by
jokes. This is serious.
what was missed was in this process, and is that Paul brought his wife with him, who, when I talked to her earlier, mentioned that she went to IUP, but when he couldn't remember the name, looked to her like, what was the name? Like she was going to pull that out of I don't know where.
No, I felt her face. I felt her face she made at me. That's what.
At any point you want to get on the air and defend yourself, you're more than welcome to. So you played baseball,
Yes.
as well. Did you always want to come here? at UPJ?
No, that's like when you guys are going back and forth as to the environment here. My path to UPJ, I was actually committed to Waynesburg, smaller school, kind of down the road.
Yeah.
And but I had already known older generations of UPJ players from Indiana County League Baseball. These guys would graduate, or some of them just in the summer go play some games in that county league, the Woodbat League.
Sure.
It's a really good league. And I was playing as a junior or senior, and Rick Roberts is actually on the team. And so we got to know each other a little bit. A friend introduced me and threw a couple bullpens for him, and he said, why don't you walk on, here instead. There's, I know one of your meetings was about athletics here, and I think scholarships came up, and there wasn't money being thrown at the baseball team. It was, I think we all split one athletic scholarship.
That's where the finance came in.
Yeah, the opportunities were for academic things. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, that led me to UP. And then that same extended family, when I graduated, I was talking to a good friend of mine, Bill Colosmo, who was also a coach on the team and came, I think, from a version of the geography department when he was here. And he said, you really should call this guy that came and hunted on my family's land. And I'm like, man, how many points am I going to draw to a job here? Mm-hmm. And then graduate, start studying, meet her all in the same 6 months. And I did that little stretch of time towards the end there, and then had my licenses and moved to Florida. So UPJ turned into this path that, and I use it when I speak. I do a lot of speaking to high schoolers or students. That was my main responsibility with Corbridge, was managing the pension plans and things. So I would always offer to speak to their students. I said, you don't know who you're talking to, what reputation you're going to lead along the way, and this is as serious as you'll typically find me, unless it's a workplace setting. But, at least try to be understanding or cordial to people, bring some respect to the table. And it drew me, not a straight line, but a defined set of references to kind of where we are now. And it continued, through professional life. But UPJ was a big part of that.
It's always interesting because the stories that we hear on the show is always something that is both very unique to everybody, but also 100% the same story over and over again. How the little pieces fit together, and this is such a big part about it. No, but it's how then you take that as a launching pad to do different things. Mm-hmm. Did you always want to do the business finance thing when you came, or would you get lured to it by something away from something else?
Math is something I wanted to do, but not professionally. It came to me relatively easy, but once we started crossing to theoretical mathematics, like, this has to be applied somewhere else. And I said, I know what I can do. I've been around the finance business my entire life. My father runs a emeritus agency, which is now supporting our business in Indiana and Pittsburgh and a couple other areas. He's been doing that my whole life. So I had the background. He had me learning the ticker symbols on the newspaper, but when people read them, you go to the page and find out all those things. So the decision was easy. The move to Florida was the stubborn, just cut your own teeth, make your own way. And now 13 years later,
so Paul, when did you get your first briefcase?
That was standard issue, and it was a really poorly put together canvas, non-labeled item that the company gave me.
I thought maybe you got one when you were like 6 or 7. With like you didn't have a.
Well, we did.
Like a backgammon case that you put papers in.
I think I owned one, but it wasn't for that sort of thing. Okay. I think we did a Blues Brothers. Halloween costume, and so I owned a briefcase.
Just wasn't sure. I just picture a young Paul with his black coffee.
No, I attempted to hide. I attempted to hide the nerdiness. Yeah. Have you seen my baseball? But yeah. No, those. I mean, it sounds boring. I understand. Not everybody knows kind of where they want to head all the time.
You had me with forensic. Then you threw in accounting, and I was like, oh.
No. We spent an entire semester just going. Everybody picked a different case of the worst individual you could think of in their fraudulent activity, and then we just kind of,
That'd be interesting.
because some of it was like, look how smart this guy is. What an awful person. Because it was really brilliant stuff. And then
If he just would have done legal things, he would have been
exactly.
perfectly fine.
Exactly.
Because
That's always
Or for
that.
God's sake, quit doing it after you fooled everyone. Just stop
Yeah.
and go away. I don't know.
That's always that Justice League thing. If you just use your evil for
well,
good.
and I'll give her credit because we just talked to a bunch of undeclared students as different departments get invited down to the Success Center. And Dr. Wagner, Julie's been on the show a couple times, talks about if you're going to do anything with us and you're not 100% sure, do criminal justice. And this is her making a plea for her department. And I understand that, but also it makes sense. Do criminal justice and forensic accounting because you're like guaranteed FBI job. Because they're just going to sit you at a desk and you're going to find all this fraud at the federal level and just do all those cases.
But I think what's interesting, because my degree was journalism here, and I think that it gets back to something you said earlier about small classes. And I found when I transferred from a much larger university, and was interested because you had to have cognitive thinking to survive. Whether it was journalism, whether it was engineering, whether it was finance, because there were like 8 people in your class. So you weren't going to get passed over with
You can't hide.
They're not going to call on me like
other people.
somebody somewhere, a professor is going to ask you, what do you think?
Yeah.
And you had to have cognitive thinking. And I think that's one thing that I see through many UPJ alum, that there's just that sense of that was the survival.
Right.
That because you were a small class and you couldn't hide behind a class of 60 people that I'm never going to get called on.
Yeah. I think it works in the other direction too, where, if you have 300 people, to your point, you're just a number, but you also can kind of create, it's very easy to just click off into your 4 or 5 people you always work with. And those, at some point you're going to be on some project with everybody that's in your major.
Right.
Because there's not enough kids to split that many groups when they,
But I think it's more forced here because of the size of the...
here is,
because of the classes.
Yeah, you've worked with everybody, and that really does help. If you go through finance, you typically end up on the commercial side of, you continue to get your MBA, you help companies get their financing, decide how much debt they want to have, that type of thing. Maybe if you do some accounting in between there as well, or even into law, and then the rest has some level of sales to it. And I say it that way because you've heard everything is sales, and when you work with everybody, because it's a small class, but it's not a uniform personality. So you work with different. I remember one specific stats class. This guy I do remember, Guo Kai. Is he still here?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I think he told so many jokes for the whole semester that they just couldn't. There was like just one other kid, and I'm like, this guy's hysterical. And
Accounting jokes?
It helped. This is stats. So
I was going to say, 'cause that must have been a riot.
No, more boring to most.
Kai's doing
more boring to most
stats and
people.
econ.
Okay. Well, this was.
It's him and Dr. Whistler running the econ together.
Hey, that makes sense because this was statistical economics. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But like his examples he'd choose would be intentionally wacky but really simple. But he'd say them with a straight face the whole time, and everybody just kind of moved on. But why did I get onto him? Oh, I was proud I remembered a professor's name.
No, it's a interesting thing.
Oh no, I was talking about a project. I'm sorry to cut
No,
you off.
go ahead.
So the idea was we had to put this thing together that was really technical, but also included a presentation and a written paper. And just so happened the little group they ended up on had probably the brightest student I was ever around here at just tossing data together. He understood computers at, and now 2008 seems like a stone age ago, but then as we translate that, okay, can you get that information to a layperson, and then can that also be put onto paper in a way that's going to be interesting? And the 4 of us got that done really well. And I don't know that we hung out socially in any group, sport, Greek life, whatever,
And that's what we still see today. It's kind of interesting watching the people who kind of connect at different levels. And that's one of the neat things seeing in the business course I do with databases and structures and that sort of thing, is everyone has to take it. So it's kind of fun talking like the accountants versus the marketing versus the finance people. And I always do the first day. Oh, what's your mate? What are you looking at? And I can, the accountants tend to be the problem solvers. The finance people are like the ones who like see the bigger picture. The marketing kind of can tie things together, and they really end up. It's watching the interaction. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Inside the entire department and the vision that is one of those things that's just. I don't know how much. That might be one of the places that it happens the most.
Yeah. Well, it shows up. You don't do great in the capstone course if you don't have, because that one's intentional. You have marketing, finance, and so you hope people have come through their department having an idea of
what they're doing,
which way they're headed. But
so you mentioned that Florida was a blind. You just picked up and decided to go to Florida.
Well, by now it seems very like it was determined to happen, but it started with I changed schools I was even go to because I got introduced to a baseball coach here, came here, played ball, met and became friends with that family who introduced me to my former boss. He was my only boss for 13 years. But he said, yeah, come on down. My first interview, he called me. I was on the driving range. I was like, oh, I better go sit down. And because I didn't know he was calling me. and so
just keep whacking balls during the interview.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, give me a second. I'm stretching. No, but, then we had another one. And then I didn't meet him till we went down to look for apartments, And the culture shock wasn't all the cultures, it was all the people. We don't live around a lot of people,
No.
and it's packed down there. And then I also went to the met a realtor, and I was like, what are you looking for? I'm like, I don't know, $800 a month. And they're like, I don't think you want that. I'm like, well, can you send me some? And it's chicken wire and stuff, like,
Yeah.
And so I had to get a little bit more expensive than that, But no, the move was it seemed random to everybody at the time, but to me it was like, this offer seems great. It's important to me to go make sure, because I wanted to do it, I enjoyed it. Let's make sure this is going to be successful, and we did. We had some pretty quick success, and a lot of the skills I brought from here put it all together.
No, that. Makes sense. It's interesting always how those flows kind of work and stuff, and especially I like it doing the demographic side. The geographer in me is like, people just, if you don't ever have gone through that, you don't realize how cheap this area really is by comparison to the rest of the world.
But it's cheap, but it's good quality.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
no, it's not. I mean,
yeah.
the cost of living from that
but I mean,
perspective,
it's really like
an
the
$800
value that you
payment
get.
here.
Sure.
Depending on where you're at, it might not be that bad of a house if you don't mind a 10-minute drive into Richland.
Yeah.
But $800 apartment someplace in
Yeah. No, it was
is not great.
When we got married, the people that came up from Florida were like, all right, cool. They flew into Latrobe, and they're trying to get their plans together. And I go, so we'll just Uber from the airport to wherever you are. I was like, no,
you won't.
no, you won't. Now you might be able
You
to
can Uber to another Uber and then take a Lyft to...
You can maybe call a taxi service. I'm sure there were still drivers somewhere. But then they kind of get where we're going, and every single one of them I saw, they're like, this makes so much sense now. But had fun, They're just like, where is everything? And then, we probably brought a bunch of, at the time, not as popular, just be vegan or something. And we're like, do you like fried food? We have fried food here. And so, it was fun. The contrast we've always enjoyed, and our kids really enjoy it because they get to do all different activities in different places,
Yeah.
So,
because they're growing up in Florida, this is like coming. This is like coming to the moon.
Yeah, but
And it's like, hey, cool, all new stuff. This is fantastic.
Then they're here
run
enough.
around.
They're here enough, and they're. The things that we do growing up is, he was shooting his BB gun and got bow and arrow and going into into the woods.
The
like,
number of people
you know.
that I literally know for a fact that went out their back door this weekend, friends of mine, and just were like,
Oh, yeah.
"Okay,
I'm just gonna
bow
shoot."
hunting season,
Yeah, yeah,
time to go,"
exactly.
and just went out into their backyard, which is
Now Florida's
45 acres,
Yeah.
and decided to go.
No, I don't want my Florida friends to get upset with me here, because there's a lot of hunting and fishing and stuff there, but there's a large population of people that's more metropolitan. They're
Sure.
just like, I won't, you know, there's a squirrel, it's probably rabbit, I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah.
You know, like there's not an understanding of the animals, but yeah, no, that's been a good deal. And then the business move has really helped out, being able to. It's rare to run into somebody that I haven't at least interacted with their culture or some of the things they're looking for,
Yeah.
or a place that we've both been, at least on the East Coast. I haven't done as much on the West Coast, but and so it's all been helpful. I do recommend maybe not just like a backpack wherever you want, but like if you're gonna take on something and continue to have experiences, being away from home, at least for a period of time. Now you have.
Yeah.
There'll be some periods where it's hard, but
Well, that's the fun thing about here is there's people who come here, and it's very great that my outer office fills up with students, and we talk all the time. And it's there's some who are like, I grew up in this environment, I don't want to be in a city. I want to stay here. And there's ones who I lived in a city and I needed to get out. The difference was this, and it's kind of the best of both worlds for everybody being, and then you're still close to stuff. You can get in the pits. You know, Pittsburgh's an hour and 20-minute drive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not like it's the you're trekking across in a wagon.
no,
Despite some of the people that tell us that.
it's pretty common. It's pretty common for people to acknowledge, even if they've been in Florida their whole life. Like, I think being somewhere slower would be nice. Actually, the train
Till the snow starts.
Yeah,
up
the
here, then
train
they
of
freak out.
events and people that I described to you guys didn't even stop there, because then when I got down there, she didn't live there yet. I started helping coaching a high school baseball team.
Okay.
That high school baseball coach now lives up here and coaches at IUP.
Oh.
And so he helped here at UPJ for a little bit as well. And so that he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to switch you and go up there. But so yeah, it just keeps on rolling.
Always something neat. Now, when you moved you're in Florida that long, and did you stick to your Pittsburgh sports fandoms?
Yes.
Because it's hard. I know. I think Florida's got some good hockey going on right now, and we're not necessarily doing fantastic.
Yes. No, the Steelers always have the easy thing for me is I'm baseball first, so the Pirates can't break my heart more than
No,
they
you've
do.
never seen. David's the only one in this room that has seen
It's
anything
seen
of a
actually
semblance of a team
playoff
that
baseball in
wasn't
my
awful.
lifetime.
Yeah. So nobody's taking that from me, but so the sports are fine, and also anytime you go to a place where a lot of people move to, there's kind of fractured.
Sure.
You know, everybody's a different sports fan.
There's always a
there,
Steelers
and
bar
then-
someplace.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can just never get used to like Florida hockey, Carolina
Yeah.
football. Like it just there's always that scene in Slapshot when the team's being bought by a bunch of old people in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, oh, the team's been bought by retirement age. Those old farts just love hockey. We got to get down to Florida. But it's that
They've done a good job. There's
Yeah.
a lot of kids
Yeah, but it
skating
just-
early and stuff now. Not quite as much here. It's still something I kind of keep in my resume if we're going to go to. Oh, you know how to skate? I'm like, yeah, yeah. I picked it up when I was 5. But
on my way to class.
on my way to class,
Figured
yeah.
it out.
I skated around here on crutches for a winter. I did. I had to learn to do that. But no, it's been a good deal. But professionally, it's really helped out. The amount of carefulness about how to progress, I think, because there is a thoughtful approach to things in Western Pennsylvania. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not just going to charge into something without having, and you usually have a network of people to ask, like, hey, where's the mistakes going here? But then we're also encouraged to venture out and do whatever
Do and try.
we need to do. So
yeah.
had success
Very much so.
under the corporate umbrella there, and then when we went private, which I do, I don't know how you are on time. I'd like to
Go ahead.
at least share that,
Yeah,
you
please
know,
do.
you're not too young to start investing. You're not too young to encourage your parents to. So many people may be surprised to find out that it was hard to do while raising you. It was hard, or they weren't taught when they were growing up. And as you start your businesses, there's not a moment of okay, now we have enough money, let's get ready to invest. It's something you want to be intentional about. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of business owners and primarily employed businesses.
Oh, sure.
It's a specialty of ours, all the way from handling your retirement plans through your benefits, which is becoming harder and harder to provide, especially as there's smaller businesses, because technology has provided the availability. Maybe you don't need 50 people for what you're doing. And so those things have become more difficult to come by. And the network that we've built, the message is whoever you're working with, make sure it's something you're intentional about pursuing. You don't have to have a ton of money to learn about it. I don't know if you guys share contact information.
Yeah, where can people find your page?
So arrowwealthllc.com. You'll find our page. You'll find a bio. You'll find pictures of us or advisors. And then we're on socials, Facebook, not quite Instagram. Engineers, I'm sure, are aware of it in other degrees, but the
Are you on the Facebook?
The rules, no, the rules around when you post something are obnoxious. Like, that's not actually your true logo color, so compliance will have an issue, and you'll have to update it, or it gets very tedious in some of these worlds.
David and I have lived this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to work for a university where
I can imagine.
It's got to meet the branding standards. I'm like, what?
Wait a minute. You can't just do that, but people liked it. It worked. You can't do it.
Look at how many people liked it. Well, it's not quite up to the branding standards of the exact color of gold.
Yeah, do less. Yeah. No, but reach out. We are taking on clients. If anybody's listening, it's not always the case.
Ouch.
Not always the case.
No, because you have a finite amount of time.
Exactly.
With the number of people, it's not an unlimited. People don't tend to think about that with these kind of things.
Right.
You hear that like with a doctor's office, and because but the same thing happens here. You have appointments. You have amount of work you have to do. There's only so much time that you can do things. And,
Well, and then of course, I'll follow that with I do always have time. Email, call. If you're just somebody interested, we just were at an event that we sponsor in Naples that covers the entire administration of Broward schools. They do things as a county. I don't know if they still do separate cities here in Pennsylvania.
We are
you've moved to the county?
deep into the let's all maintain our own separate 600 plus school districts in Pennsylvania.
There are pros and cons, but we don't have enough time on this one. But
the
they're
cons
enormous.
The cons are there can only be so many high schools named the Eagles.
Oh, that's
in one state, or
or
the Panthers, or the mascots run very thin here. It's like
for years. John Wozniak, who's been on the show, is our VP when he was a state senator. Now is our VP of the alumni board. Worked on school consolidation, and I think they got like 4 to merge. So he went from like 618 to 612 or something, and that was 35 years of work on his part to get those 4 to do something. But every time in Florida, you're talking. It's countywide.
It's a big, enormous group, and now we got my train of thought going again. But our involvement in that, they do events. These professional development events. They had a game night and things, and so we end up learning spades and they had dominoes and some other games, and then we meet this kid. We're just sitting there. He's much younger than the rest of the group, and he just graduated and is, by all accounts, an Olympic level athlete. Nicest guy, economics and finance degree, shared information. He moved away. We still traded some emails. I mean, those types of things I'll never turn down. When I say open to clients, I'm saying please reach out to us. If you run a business, you have questions about your pensions and things. I have good understandings of those. If you just need private wealth, if unfortunately if it's an estate issue, you've lost somebody, those are difficult, and we have programs where we organize all that for you. That's really a big part of our business.
Yeah.
And then if you're the fun ones too, you're starting a family, married, that type of thing. But if this is primarily listened to by students as well, I hope you reach out and
yeah, and like we typically will do, David and I will always have our contact information, but I'll pull your page and I'll put it in the description of the page too. So if you're looking for it, you're like, boy, I didn't quite get that web address. It'll be pull up your podcatcher of choice and it'll be there listed.
Awesome.
And I think this ties into a lot of what we talked about in the last couple of episodes with the beginning of the business directory. Mm-hmm. The alumni first business directory, and that's this is no endorsement or non-endorsement, but how many other people are out there doing financial planning? Let's look at an alumni first, from alumni to alumni.
Yeah.
And we say the same thing, when you talk about students, we have a very robust LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
Or directory. And I tell a student, when you're looking for a job, go on that LinkedIn page, because guess what? You may be a business, someone getting out, with a business degree. You find Paul's information. There's going to be one question on that interview that you're going to get right when they ask you, did you go to UPJ?
Yeah,
so did I. And that's that whole, we're just trying to do the simple connections to say, look, alumni first.
Yeah.
We'll get you up on one of our features we do every Tuesday.
That'd
and then we'll get you into the business directory. But it's, it's that look to somebody that you've got a commonality with.
Yeah.
Whether you graduated in, 79, 89, 2009, there's still that, whether it's, for business end, or I constantly try to encourage when you're looking for a job. I mean,
oh yeah, those things run as long. I mean, just the random numbers you put out, those are similar, and possibly even there was a management professor, I think, Reed, who did retire.
Names aren't important.
Yeah,
but we've established that.
Well, I'm 2 for 3 now. But I believe he was here when the program opened. Was that early 70s?
73,
He'd been around for a long time.
And I don't, not an alumni, but Dr. Hoff, give him a shout out, because he's always real big on alumni stuff.
Oh yeah, over in Indiana. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he
and a baseball player.
Right.
So
yes.
those
connections. Record holding, I believe, or if it had been passed since, I don't know. But
he's Hall of Fame here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys do a great job of that. I played with a couple. That little period of time was cool. Watson and Fleck and
those guys.
Yeah. And because you do a good job. That Hall of Fame isn't just, can you chuck a ball? I mean, they're really high character people.
It's amazing that for the concept of little UPJ. It's not little UPJ.
Yep.
It's there is. And this show is probably a testament to the number of people that we've had through here who have done these like amazing things, whether it's going and starting a business in Florida or the Moon program or working with veterans or whatever it is. It's like, oh yeah, this is stuff. And the same thing on that athletic side, the raw talent that said, I want to go here.
Yep.
And it's not just where you think of some schools is that very narrow focus of something. It's all these sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I often get that reaction from somebody when I'll say so-and-so, and I'll get it'll be a question. They're an alum?
Yeah.
Like, are you surprised?
Yeah.
The university's been here for over 50 years. Yeah. And when I say they're an alum, like I said, follow our social medias. We're posting people that have done great things or done things that I don't even want to say that they have to be great, but out there making it happen. That they're there. And it's that question when I hear, are they they're an alum? Like, yeah, they're an alum. So I can't say enough, I guess, about networking. Yeah. I think that there's a lot to be said for that, whether it's...
Well, and if it's not a skill of yours, get in there and make it one, because
it takes practice. The only thing you can do is kind of work and get comfortable talking to people. Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground this week.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you came up. Only for us, for no other reason, the trip from Florida.
But you know what? Let me say this though, Paul. This was interesting because another thing that's just there's these themes that we continue to beat into listeners' heads, and anybody that'll give you a minute. But it's we're here for the alum.
Yeah.
And you'll look at anything I post on the platforms. It'll say if you have a fun fact, if you have a throwback Thursday, if you have a business that's run by an alum. Paul, I can't even remember how it all took place, but I remember getting an email and you said, "Hey, can I get on the podcast?"
You had I don't know if we'd reached back and forth, or at least it had at least come directly to me, not just a post.
Right.
You had actually said, "Hey, noticed you're going to get involved." So it wasn't just let's blast posts to everybody on our list.
Yeah.
And then I saw the podcast, practiced my radio voice.
You're doing a good job with that. Yeah.
And you guys, I expected to set something in the future, and then we knew we were coming up here.
Yeah.
We knew we were coming up
well.
here, and I just said, does this work at all? And you said, yeah, get up at 7 and drive here at 9 in the morning on Monday. I said, okay, no problem.
Hey, that's the
But I think
crazy
the point,
week here, but we got this in.
But the point is that you reached out, and I'm trying to encourage constantly more alum, like reach out
and to let people know you can be part of the show. You have less dedication than Paul, but you can do it via online. We can set some. I have the technology in the studio to make that work too. So if you aren't as dedicated as Paul, coming from Florida for only this reason, and want to do it that way, this was certainly something we can offer, and we've done those before.
We've done those before,
including Joe Edian, that was over in Japan serving active duty Marine Corps, and with Colonel Moshkett over talking about Buzz Wagner. So those are just two great examples that if you thought, we're just doing it in person, we weren't.
But that's how you get involved.
Because I didn't go to Japan.
Somebody says I want to be more involved in alumni activities.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like the coach speech, but get involved. Reach out. One thing that University of Pittsburgh is very good at, making very easy email addresses. They just use 3 letters. They don't use the whole last name and 11 syllables.
Except when you look at mine and it's my first initial and last name.
Well, you don't have a long name though. You're
okay. Thank you.
But no. But what I'm saying is, I just want to reiterate. I want to thank Paul for reaching out to us and saying, "Hey, can I get on the podcast?" Qualification? Are you an alum? Yes. Do you want to talk about what got you to this point? Yes. Yeah. Let's get you on. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant as well, but I listened to a few of the of the episodes, and you guys have fun. But also, I immediately heard a few names, kind of specifically from my era. I'm like, okay, there are still people around here still pushing things through. Not that it was a surprise, but it makes things easier when you immediately. I think was Abby here?
Abby Gerhardt, she's been on several times,
No, but was she here when I was in 2008 to 2012? Was she a trainer or
Abby was here. Abby left.
Else?
Abby came back.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's student, then left and taught for a little bit.
And then came back.
So she may have been in that teaching.
That was the first name I recognized, and I was like, okay, I'll listen. And then she started talking about wrestlers from my same age group.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I think in the conversation went so well with you guys, like, okay, I think we can rock this out.
We're mostly harmless.
Yeah.
For the most part.
All right. Well, again, thanks for coming up. Do you have anything you want to rebut while you have a chance to? You're good?
It would take too long.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you, Paul, for coming and spending some time with us. David, have a great rest of your week.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll see everyone next week on the next episode of the Tuck Shop Podcast. The Tuck Shop Podcast is recorded live on the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown campus. Update your contact information with us by visiting johnstown.pitt.edu/alumni. Connect with us online via Facebook and LinkedIn, or consider donating to the university at giveto.pitt.edu/giveupj.
This has been a production of Quantum Wave Media. Views expressed do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown.